Hi there, my name is MC Oda and welcome to a special episode where I am going to walk through all of my favorite builds. I was going to say my favorite builds of the last year, but I've never done one of these before. So I'm going to say my favorite builds since I've been doing YouTube. So let's waste no time and get right into the builds. So for the first build I wanted to show you, I'm going back to Block Breaking Season 2. And the build I want to show you is actually two builds. It's two shops that I built here in the shopping district. So the first of those two shops is the Woodpicker's Log Shop. So in Season 2 of Block Breaking, I made a bunch of tree farms and I would harvest logs and sell them to the server. So let's take a quick look at this build. And one thing I like about this build is it looks kind of more like a modern building, something you would see like in a strip mall or something, or sitting off the side of the road. It has this patio where all of the logs are received and processed. It's got kind of a more modern build here, and then it's got maybe what used to be a garage that was converted into a part of the shop. This sign up front, this is the Woodpicker's logo, and this is my first and only time ever doing map art. And I think that turned out really, really well. I really like this logo a lot. Let's take a quick walk inside the shop. This is the interior of the shop. You see all of the logs are laid out. The shoppers can see what they would look like with bark. They can look and see what strip looks like. They can see what the planks would look like and what the trapdoors would look like. And this kind of just lays everything out so that they can see what they're going to be purchasing. And behind me we have the checkout counter. And this is our cashier / security guard, Mr. Warden. And if we come out to this part over here, the converted garage, this is where we sold all of the leaves. And I kind of like this. This has a nice look and feel. You know, customers can sit down, maybe have a cup of coffee or something while they're waiting for, maybe their log orders to be ready. One of my favorite things about this build is in the back, I hid a little dumpster. I love this. So anyway, so that is the Woodpicker's Log Shop. I really like this build. And that takes me to my other shop, which is right behind me here. This is the Shroom Room. So in this shop, I sold everything mushroom and mushroom related. Now one thing about this build is I wanted it to look like a mushroom, but I didn't want it to look like a naturally made mushroom. I wanted it to look like a building that was made to look like a mushroom. Right, so that's why it kind of has the squarish walls. These were supposed to look like windows, but really they were to hide lighting. And I kind of like the way I did the mushroom gills up underneath here with the trap doors and the fence posts. Got the nice big round mushroom cap, which I really, really like. And the interior is a lot of fun. So this is called the Shroom Room, and the interior was a total psychedelic mushroom trip. I love this so much. And the floor just keeps going, and you just really trip out when you walk in here. The things for sale are stored in color matching shulkers here that match the stripes of the walls, and you can see right above the things that would be in those shulkers to buy. And there we have the Shroom Room. All right, now for the next build I want to show you, this is back from Block Breaking Season 1. And this build was actually my main base. And that main base was a nice big castle. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. This was a really big build. This was the first build I did of this size. This is also the first time I tried to actually convert a Dungeons & Dragons map into a Minecraft build. So this was actually a castle from an adventure, and I was able to use the maps of the castle from that adventure to build this in Minecraft. I really love the way this turned out. I like some of the detailing on the walls there. I like the way I did the roofs on top. And I even put like siege weapons and castle defense here on the roof, which is pretty nice. There's really not much of an interior. This was mainly like I built the structure and then worked on the exterior of the build. Whenever I built it on Season 1 of Block Breaking, I actually did a thing where I offered diamonds to anybody who wanted to design interior rooms. And some of them did get designed, a lot of them did not. But the first one is this grand entrance hall, and this was done by Time Rider. And I always thought that this came out really, really nice. It's a very nice grand entrance to the castle. The interior is all built out as far as walls and layout. You got this nice twisting, curving like hallways and stuff. You have, you know, spiral stairs to get up between the levels. Some in this corner, some in those corners. Over here in the back, let me see if I can get to it. Ah, this was the roof access. Oh, here we go. In the back side here of the castle, there was kind of this open part down here that is accessed through the main floor. So this is the main floor. When you're inside the castle, this kind of comes out into here, and things could have been done here. And it has kind of this this balcony kind of overlooking it, but it also goes all the way up this main tower to the very, very top of the castle. This kind of goes up this huge spire that you saw, and you can hear some chirping. This is actually my, this is the top of the tower, and this is my belfry with bats. The bats in the belfry. How I got the bats here is a pretty fun thing. I actually had to build a bat spawner and transfer them up here, which was very difficult to do because you cannot get bats on leads or boats or minecarts or anything else. I have a whole video on how I did this. It's really worth checking out if you want to have bats in your build. So let's take another final look at the outside of my Season 1 base from Block Breaking. So the next build I wanted to show you brings me back to Block Breaking Season 2. And the build I'm getting ready to show you was my starter home from that season. And there was a funny story behind it. I got turned into a pretty princess for a couple of weeks. And at the time I didn't have a starter home yet. I was actually wandering the lands on a mule. And during the weeks while I was the pretty princess, Time Rider thought it was hilarious. And he cashed in some IOUs and he made myself and Wire Destroyer build me a starter home, and he said it had to be a pretty princess castle. And this was the result. Honestly, of all the builds I've done, and I didn't do this all myself, this was me and Wire Destroyer building this together. I love this build. It is absolutely nothing I would have ever built on my own. I never would have even thought to build something like this. And it just came out so perfectly. The idea is that we wanted it to kind of look like a toy, so this kind of looks like a child's toy. It's very kind of top heavy and not very realistically built. You know, it's got, of course, all of its bright pink colors and pinks and purples and stuff. We gave it a little rainbow bridge across a little moat, and this moat is all full of pink and purple corals. And there's even, if we look closely, there should be a bunch of little pink axolotls swimming around in here. I'm not seeing any of those. Oh, here they are. Some of them get stuck on the gates. But we have the moat is full of little pink axolotls, which I think is absolutely hilarious, and that just adds to it. But this build, basically, I built the structure, and then Wire Destroyer came behind me with the block palette to kind of paint it, to give it color. And I think this was an awesome collaborative build. I absolutely love this. I lived in this thing for most of Season 2, honestly. And it really is, like, although it's small and it's totally not my style at all, this is like one of my favorite builds. I absolutely love this build. If we look at the interior of this, there is no more interior. There wasn't an interior to begin with. It was all just kind of plain. You could get ladders and stuff to go up to the appropriate places. Like there was a nether portal at the top of this tower. And over here, this was actually where I was living. This was all of my storage chests were just along all the walls in this little spot here. And this is really where I lived for most of Season 2, was in this room right here. So as far as a home, this is very awkward. The interior is very awkward and not very useful. But really this build, just the exterior really makes this thing shine. And I absolutely love it. I love this build. Alright, so the next build I wanted to show you is another one that came from Season 2 of Block Breaking. And this one, I'm less proud of the build itself than the mechanics behind it. And you'll know what I mean whenever I show you what this is. This is my Clue mansion. Yes, this is a mansion that I built where we could play the game Clue, you know, the board game Clue, where there's a murder mystery. You have to figure out who did it, which weapon, and in which room. This build is huge and impressive. I really do like this build. But this build was not mine entirely. This came from a tutorial from Big Tony MC. And while this is not a block for block reconstruction of that, because I had to change some of the dimensions, I added some towers, but it really was based on that tutorial. I built the entire thing from his tutorial, and then I rebuilt it to match my needs using all of the techniques and stuff that I learned while building the tutorial. So, although I absolutely love this build, I can't really take credit for building it all myself because, again, this came from a tutorial, although I did plenty of tweaks. But this one has a fully built interior, which is really rare for me. So let's take a look. And here we start in the foyer of the building. Again, this is the game Clue. So this is, we've got Steve here. Steve is the murder victim, and we're trying to determine who killed him with which weapon in which room. There's all kind of redstone and mechanics behind it, where we have the six suspects, the 6 weapons, the 9 rooms. I throw some levers and hit some buttons, and everything gets shuffled, and the solution comes up here into this box so that we know who done it. All the other cards get thrown in the back here, where you can draw them into your hands. We've got like action cards over here that you can draw so that you can you know, do some actions and stuff in the game, so it's a little bit different than the actual game of Clue. But it's really incredible, and I'll show you the redstone behind this in just a second, but let me just explore the mansion a little bit. This interior is insane. This is the Great Hall here, and we actually, around this table, I put like player 1, player 2, player 3, and you could actually like, you can hang out in this room while you're playing, so you know like which player is to your left and right and stuff, because some of those action cards actually, they take that into account. But this is the Great Hall. In some of these rooms, I actually have these blue shulker boxes, and there are additional clues that are hidden in those boxes. So not only are some of the cards put in the solution box over there, and some of them put behind those stairs for you to draw, some of them are actually distributed amongst the mansion itself for you to discover during the game. So all of the clues are not known when the game starts, which really adds a fun wrinkle to it. We got a little kitchen over here, which is nice. Let's see, let me go to the other side of the downstairs. This is the, well, this right here is where you draw your cards for your action cards, and then this is a layout where you can see laid out who the suspects are, what the weapons are, and what the rooms are. In here we've got, this is like a nether portal room. This is a fake portal, obviously. I didn't want it to actually link to the nether. This guy's real. Carl. He can actually hurt you if you get too close. Of course, I'm in creative mode, so he's not going to attack me. But getting him here was a lot of fun. It took a few tries. We got this nice little, I think it's like a potion brewing room here in the corner. I really like this. But yeah, but here's the hidden clue for the nether portal room. So this is a clue that would have to be found during the game. Let's go up to the second floor and show you what's a little bit more of this interior. It opens up here into this huge map room, which I really like. Now this room over here is the enchanting room. It's kind of cool. It looks like a kind of a mix between like a library slash research spot, plus it's got the enchanting table. And right here you can find a hidden clue inside this room as well. On the other side of this level, this is the bedrooms. So this section we kind of have like some sitting rooms and stuff here, like a sitting area, I guess I could call it. And then we got a couple bedrooms in here. You got a nice little bedroom here, nice big bed, you know, with some wardrobes and stuff. Oh, and did you see that? This was the hidden clue in the bedrooms. But yeah, that's just more bedrooms. We even have some bathrooms up here. We got some little bathrooms here with a sink, and oh, it looks like someone didn't flush. Oh, sorry about that. You know, inside everyone's a 12-year-old. Anyway, so down here in this, the far hall is another desk to sit at, and we got kind of a wardrobe here with some outfits and stuff. So now there's 2 rooms upstairs. Let me go to the far one first. Let me get back over here. All right, so this one, it comes off of the enchanting room. You kind of go up these stairs, up this corner tower. And this goes into the storage room. This is a very massive, massive storage room. Of course, it's not being used to store anything. This is all decorative. But in one of the corners of this room, it's kind of hard to find the first time here, but this is the hidden clue that can show up in the storage room. So that's where you would find that. Let me go back to the other side so you can see the other side of the 3rd floor. Okay, so I'm back here in the bedrooms, and behind the bedrooms there is the spiral stairs leading up this corner tower, and this leads into the furnace room. Now, why a big heavy furnace room and ores would be stored in the attic, I'm not really sure. But, you know, this is Minecraft physics, so we don't question it. This room can actually hold a clue as well. And right here where someone was making a sword, we've got a clue. And that clue for the furnace room would show up here. The final room, and there's no clue that would show up here, but this is just a fun room. I call this the research lab. And this is where all of the curiosities and interesting things that Steve has found, this is where he was studying those. And I really like, this is where he was playing with some redstone. He's got a zombie up here, Patient Zero. And again, this one is real as well. And he's got all kinds of curious things that he has found throughout his travel, found and crafted up here where he is studying those. So I'm just going to show you really quick the redstone that is underneath this. If you want a more detailed explanation of things about this, I have a whole episode where I talk about it. But I did want to show you the insane, I call it the bowl of spaghetti of redstone that is underneath this. And here it is. Let's see, I'm in creative, let me fly out here. This is the redstone that actually runs the game of Clue. This took me, just this redstone took me about 2 weeks to create. In creative mode, I built this like one little piece at a time and just kept sticking those pieces together until I had a fully operational game. It does everything from, like, it takes those original cards, it takes one of each card and it puts them in one direction to go into the solution box. It takes all the rest of them and it shuffles them up, and it shuffles them up really well. And then it goes and it sends like a single clue out to each of the rooms to be discovered, to where they go out and then they go up to the room where, you know, I had shown you where those blue shulkers are. And then all the other cards are kind of shuffled down and then put up into that place behind the stairs where you can draw them as a hand. And most of all the redstone down here really handles the different player settings, because like depending on the number of players you have playing the game, everyone's going to get a certain number of cards in their hand, and then there's only going to be a certain number of hidden clues depending on the number of people playing. So all the redstone down here handles all of those logic decisions. So let's just take another look at the outside of this build. Wire Destroyer helped me with some of the outside here. He made this nice mowed lawn and nice trim hedgerows. I did these fountains over here, and yeah, we have a little bit of the backside here as well. And yeah, there you go. This is the Clue Mansion. So this build was a lot of fun to design and create, and it was tons of fun to play. So I think I'm actually going to build it again on the CraftWorks SMP, so that all my friends there can have the joy of playing this game. But I think I'm going to try to redesign the mansion. I think I'm going to try to make a mansion design that is 100% my own. And that's also going to require a lot of rework of a lot of that redstone and how all of those items get moved through the mansion. So that's going to be a fun challenge. It's probably going to be coming up in the next year, so keep your eyes open for that. All right, there's only a couple more builds I wanted to show you this episode, and the next one was another one that came from Season 2 of Block Breaking. And this build I'm getting ready to show you is the biggest, by far the largest build I've ever tried to attempt in Minecraft. And that is my giant castle in the clouds. This build, you can only see this build because I have a mod installed called Bobby, which lets you see well past the render distance. Normally in game, this build was so big that if you stood at one side of this, the other side would not even be rendered in. You had to stand in the center to be able to even see the whole thing. But basically, I made these massive clouds, and then this massive, massive castle sitting on top of these clouds. It's so big, like I'm trying to fly around it, and it feels like I'm flying really slow, but it's because this thing is that big. So let me just get down. So let me get down underneath it real quick so you can see the bottom of the cloud. This cloud took me forever to figure out how to build. Of course, I built it first in creative and then built it here. Now you can see a little bit of a pattern in here, but that's because I had to light it up. Because without lights, the whole bottom was just black, and all the edges, I called it the burnt marshmallow. So I had to get lights showing through this. So the way I built this cloud, and let me see if I can actually get inside of it real quick for you. Here we go, I'll pop into spectator mode to get inside of it. So this is the interior of the cloud. Now all of the entire cloud is made out of snow blocks, but everywhere where you see one of these lights, underneath it is a powdered snow block. So the light will actually shine through the powdered snow. And that is how we got the bottom side to actually be lit up. And again, this is just the cloud. Another thing I had to build here was I needed like just an absolute ton of stone. So this right here is a cobblestone generator, and this thing would just crank out cobblestone at a very huge rate. And then that cobblestone would come up here into this, let's see, how do I get in here? This furnace array right here. I'm sorry, this is the back side of it. This furnace array. So all of that cobblestone would get transferred up into these hoppers, and it would come down into these furnaces. And all of those furnaces were fed by this, it was basically a carpet duper. It was really the only way I could create this much fuel. But this carpet duper basically, just kept the furnaces full of fuel. And as that stuff was being smelted into stone, it was stored in these shulker boxes. And then these shulker boxes could be popped off and then of course taken and then used. This right here is really just the underside of the castle. So we've got the cloud. This flooring was just here in place when I built the cloud, and I just left it here. This is the base of the castle, and then it goes up into like layer 1, layer 2, etc. So this castle build is another one that was based on a map from another Dungeons & Dragons adventure. And it was a castle in the clouds that was populated by giants. Now, I needed a way up to this, so the only way I could get up to this was to fly with Elytra. But I needed a way to get back into this base if you didn't have Elytra. So if I'm going to have a castle in the clouds that's populated by giants, I felt the only natural way to be able to make a way up to this was to create a beanstalk. That's right, I went ahead and did a little bit of a Jack and the Beanstalk thing. This is Jack's house, and he was has his humble little farm and his couple little cows here. And he sold a cow to, I believe it was Wire Destroyer. And Wire Destroyer gave me some beans, and I planted those beans, and it became a beanstalk, which was actually a way to get up to the castle. And I'll go ahead and hop in there right now. I made this nice little water elevator. It's actually in 2 parts because I couldn't find a spot that went all the way to the top. But this first elevator gets you most of the way there. And then at the top of this elevator, you just have to take another one. And this one is much, much shorter. And this kind of takes you, this is the top of the beanstalk, and then this opens up right at the entrance gates of the castle. So let me just pull back and show you this beanstalk. So this is the top of the beanstalk. And that's the whole thing. Going all the way up from the ground to cloud layer here. Now with this build, there is not much of an interior. Again, like I built the structure of it based on the map, and I was going to start building all of the interiors to match the actual map from the Dungeons & Dragons adventure, but I didn't get very far before the end of Season 2 here. So most of these rooms are empty. There is one room, well there's 2 rooms. One of them is an actual room of the castle. And that is in here. So we got this nice little outer part here. Let's see. We have the actual audience chamber. And that is right here. Now this one never made it to video. I made this room, but I never made an actual episode about this room. So this is the audience chamber. And if you were to look up this Dungeons and Dragons map, it is very much built exactly like it was described there. It's got this mosaic in the floor. It's got a big throne here where the king would sit. And of course, this throne is made for giants. So as a player, you have to kind of hop up to it. There we go. And that would be like an audience chamber where the people would sit and listen to what the king has to say. We got these giant statues on the corners here. And we've got this awesome thing here where I hit a lever, and then that, see the center of that mosaic right there? That opens up, and anyone who was standing here would just fall straight through and plummet to the ground. Yeah, so again, like in game, if you were to stand at one side of this build, the other side wouldn't even render. So whenever I was building it, it was a lot of fun. But this is the biggest, most impressive build I've ever made in Minecraft. It does look a little bit plain because it's just so darn big, and I really didn't have a chance to put much detailing or windows or anything in it. There was no interior, but just as far as just the sheer size of this build, this was insane. Like, the amount of snow farming I had to do to make this cloud was just mind-boggling. And this is a build that I'm really super proud of, and I really wish I was able to finish it. Of course, finishing it probably would have taken another like year. But this is really a build that I'm super, super, super proud of. Here's a little bit of a bird's eye view. I am way up here in the sky, so you can kind of see how that's laid out down here. So there you go. That was my castle in the clouds. Okay, I've got two more builds I want to show you, and this is the second to last one. This is a build that I've done recently, and I did this as a collaboration with Daskalos. And Daskalos is an archaeology / Minecraft YouTuber. Well, I guess / just YouTuber in general. He does more than just Minecraft videos. And he approaches Minecraft from the eyes of an actual archaeologist. And he did a series, a very popular series, where he actually looked at the archaeology feature of Minecraft, and he kind of looked at it through the eyes of an archaeologist, and he kind of showed you how an archaeologist in the real world would approach, a dig of an archaeological site. And he had gotten a lot of comments in his videos about like, hey, you should build a museum to put the artifacts in. And he got together with me, and we decided that I would go ahead and build him a museum in his world. And this is the result of that request. This is my museum for Minecraft archaeology. And I'm really proud of this build. This really came out, honestly, better than I expected. Now, as far as museums go, I wanted to give this more of a hometown feel, rather than like a big, huge, like Smithsonian type of a museum. I wanted this to be a museum that you might see like in your hometown, or something that would actually be built on an archaeological site outside of the ruins that you're about to explore. As far as the style here, I borrowed some of the modern things like the roof and the HVAC systems and stuff. I borrowed that from that woodpicker's log shop that I showed you at the beginning of this episode. I kind of carried some of those ideas in here because I wanted this to be a modern build. But pretty much those aspects of it was really all I borrowed from that. Everything else just kind of came fresh from my mind. For this outside, I wanted to decorate up this front a little bit. And I used like colors and blocks that were found in the actual archaeological dig itself. These are some of the terracotta and stuff that is found in the buildings. And after I put those colors and stuff down here, this really gave it like a retro vibe. This really feels like something that was built like in the 60s or 70s. And I think it really gave it such a cool feel. Like, it makes it feel modern, but old, which is, I love it. I love the feel of this thing. The entire interior of this thing is actually done. Actually, let me show you the entire outside. So this is the front. And, so now, like any kind of modern tourist attraction, the front is the thing that has all of the designs and decorations and stuff. And then when you go around like the sides and back of it, the walls are more plain. And I thought that kind of reflected more of the real world. And behind here, I put a nice little patio, so when you're done exploring the museum, you can come out here and have yourself a little rest and have a snack with your friends. And we have put in a little snack bar here where you can get some fresh food. I did build a nature trail that goes through the forest all the way over to the actual dig site. I didn't show much of this trail in the original video from this museum because I didn't want to spoil the ending where the actual ruins were. But the entire trail is pretty much just some retaining walls, some benches, some trash cans, and some tiki torches. But that just kind of winds through this forest the entire way. And when you get to the end of this nature trail, it ends here at the actual archaeological site. And that is the actual site that Daskalos dug out in his series. And this was originally a big, massive hill, and he dug it out the way an archaeologist would, and then afterwards he kind of terraformed all around it to expose it and to set it up to make it a nice tourist attraction. And I even have some little benches over here and stuff so you can sit up here and view the area from afar. Let's get back to the museum real quick. So this museum has a fully furnished interior. Again, that's pretty rare for builds for me. And this is where I really struggled the most. I'm not real great with interiors, and I pulled in a friend of mine, Zinkberg, and he helped me through some creative blocks I had with the interior, and he really helped to give me some good pointers and some good tips on making this interior really just pop and stand out. I'm not going to go through every room of this. I have a whole video on this that you can watch, but basically this is the lobby here. We've got typical things from the museum. We got a souvenir shop in the corner. We've got a recreation of part of the ruins here that the kids can play on. We've got a map of the area, the museum, the nature trail, and the ruins. And we have a ticket and info booth. Now, each of these rooms in here now of the museum, now this has all of the artifacts displayed. These are artifacts that came out of the dig. Whenever I built it, I left all of these empty, with just slips of paper in them to say what should be here. And then Daskalos came in behind me after the archaeological dig was done, and he actually populated it with the artifacts themselves, and he filled out each of these books to describe what those artifacts were and how he believes they were used in the world. Now there's a cool Easter egg in this, and it's down here in the last room. Now this was not shown in my videos. In fact, when I built it, it wasn't there. Daskalos came and then he did this before he completed the build and put it out for download. But over here in this back room, this is the final room of the museum as you're walking through. This is the pottery room. Right, this is where you have the pottery sherds, you have recreations of the pots and everything. And again, this is the last room. The next thing would be the patio. Well, if you come around the back side of this, there's a little room here that says museum staff only. And there's a bit of an Easter egg hidden down there. No, I'm not going to show this. That wasn't something that I built. This was something that Daskalos did. And if you want to see what that Easter egg is, you need to go to Daskalos' channel. And I believe you just have to jump on his Patreon, and it's 100% free. You just jump on his Patreon. You can get this world download to explore this yourself. And while you're here, you can check out and see what this nice little Easter egg is. So let me just give you one more sweeping shot of this museum. So yeah, again, this is a build I'm really proud of. This took me longer than I expected to build. Again, I hit a few creative blocks there, which really took me some time to get over. But I'm really happy with the way this came out. I know Daskalos has told me that he was very happy with the way it came out as well. He was really excited about this build, and I think he was telling me, especially the folks on his channel really responded well to this. I think everybody really liked this, and yeah, again, I have a full video explaining it, showing the build, showing off all the rooms, and of course he has his entire archaeological series on his website that you can go and watch. And for the final build I wanted to show you, that brings me here to the CraftWorks SMP. And the build behind me is my starter home, but that's not what I wanted to show you. What I wanted to show you is a bit of a spoiler. I don't know if it's really a spoiler. I think a few other folks have already shown this on their channels, but you haven't seen it on my channel yet. This is something that is coming up in the very, very, very near future. And it's a pretty awesome thing. So to see this, I'm going to have to go through the end portal, which I think this is Millie's end portal entrance down here. Let me hop on through here. All right, so now we're getting ready to go to the end. And this is going to be our new shopping district. Look at this. This is insane. This is bonkers. This is probably one of the coolest things I've seen on Minecraft. This is seriously, and I'm not saying this because we did it. I'm saying this because this looks so wild flying around in here. Now I'm in creative mode right now. I'm actually doing this on a world download in creative mode. On the server, we've actually started developing it a little bit more, but I wanted to show it to you raw. This is just a sight to see. So we actually, over the course of about 3 weeks, hollowed out the entire end island. And when I say hollowed out, I mean hollowed out like every block, if you break it, leads to the void. This entire thing is the outside of the end island. And all of these contours and stuff that you see are the contours and stuff from the outside of the end island. See, you can see out here. Again, this took us about 3 weeks to do. It took me... I personally spent those entire 3 weeks just doing this. Like, I took a little bit of a break from creating and editing videos, a little bit of a mental break, but also just just to chill out in here and do this. And it was a way to just kind of unwind a little bit, not have to worry about putting out episodes. But I did have a whole lot of help from other folks on the server, and everyone would come down here in the time that they could spare, and they would help dig out as well. And everyone who helped dug out tens of thousands of blocks. Some dug out well over 100,000 blocks. I myself dug out, I think, a little over 600,000 blocks. So again, this is pretty insane. I believe the total blocks that were removed from this to hollow it out was somewhere in the range of 1.1 million blocks. And the fun thing about Endstone is even with Beacons of Haste 2, these are not insta-mine like stone. It's more like Deep Slate, right? You can mine it a little faster with Haste, but it's still not instant. And then that's why it took so long to do. But we actually lucked out and had the pad where you first come in is actually inside the island, which is pretty nice. You didn't have to worry about it like floating outside, to where we had to actually make like bridge across to get inside of it. But see, here's the outside of the island. We still need to pretty up some of those little the ways to get to the portals. But again, when you fly inside, completely hollow. I love this. So, I don't know if I think I did say it when I first came in here. But again, this is going to be our shopping district. That is the purpose of doing this. Currently at spawn, we do have a marketplace, which is where we've been selling things, but we intentionally kept that to be very small. We made it just where they're really just like little tents and stuff, tents and barrels and stuff, and wagons and things that people can sell things off of. But we want this to be the actual shopping district where people are going to come in here and build actual shops and builds and everything else. I think this is going to be really, really super cool. This is going to be very, very unique. I've never seen anything like this done before. And I'm really looking forward to this. So this is coming up in the CraftWorks SMP. Again, if you've been watching all the other crafters on their videos, a couple of them have already shown this in progress. I don't know that anyone has shown the completed product yet. I'm not certain about that. But again, right now on the actual server, we've actually started. Millie has already made a grand staircase coming down from the pad up there. We've started putting some dirt and stuff down here so that people don't actually accidentally mine out this endstone and then plummet to their death. So if you want to see how this develops into an actual shopping district, make sure you check out my CraftWorks SMP series. Make sure you check out all the other crafters as well and all the builds that they're going to put out here. And make sure you keep tabs on the progress of this thing. I seriously think this is one of the coolest things I've seen in Minecraft. Like, I've never seen this done before. I mean, doesn't mean that no one has done it. I've just never seen it. But I think this is going to be super cool, super unique. And I think everyone on the server is going to have a lot of fun making builds in here and creating terrain and decorations and everything else to really make this place pop. So I think this is going to wrap up my episode here of all of my favorite builds since I've been doing YouTube. I thought this was a fun way to wrap up the year, and I got a lot of cool things in plan for 2024. Of course, we're going to be continuing on with CraftWorks SMP. I've got some collaboration ideas that are in the works. I got ideas for a tutorial series that I want to work on. So yeah, a lot of cool things coming up in 2024 that I'm really excited about, and I hope to see you there in those series as well. All right, thanks again for stopping by, and until next time, you take care of yourself, okay? Bye-bye. How far am I gonna go? How far? Oh, this Bobby mod is awesome. Look at that whole island is still visible from out here. This is nuts. Oh, is it starting to fade? It's starting to fade. Bye, End Island. Fade to black. Keep fading. It's going. It's going. Still going. I can still see it. How far away I am. And now the island is gone. Bye, guys.